Welcome to the Indelible Card Magic Project. Not the inedible. I've had a few fans already say, is it inedible? No, it's indelible. The reason it's indelible is because all the tricks involve something with a magic marker, like indelible ink, right? And also the idea, the concept of the project is that the tricks are so visual and so dramatic and so engaging that they are unforgettable. They are indelibly marked in the spectator's mind. So that's the concept, okay? So welcome. You are going to get a huge kick and have so much fun and get great reactions with so many of these tricks. You know, you take a deck of cards out for people and you say pick a card or whatever, and they think to themselves, I've seen this one before, okay? And that's fine, because you and I both know there's so many different kinds of those tricks. But as soon as you are into a card trick and you take a marker out and you start making a mark on the back of a card, it immediately stands out from all the other tricks. To lay people, the fact that, hey, wait, he's destroying, he's ruined his deck. He's destroying a card for us. It's huge. Magicians, we take it for granted, no big deal. But to lay people, it really is very impressive. And then when you do something crazy where you change the ink on a card or you bring a picture to life and the eyes open or any of this stuff, it's all next level, very different kind of card magic, okay? So I'm excited to share this stuff with you. You're going to find a lot of it's pretty simple too. Basic sleights, double lift, double undercut, just a couple little quick things, a peak control, not advanced magic, okay? Which I really enjoy myself. I think less on the sleights. I can entertain people and focus more on bringing the magic to life, right? Also, this stuff is great for a lot of you now. More and more of us are on the socials, right? We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. And you're going to find that the visuals on this stuff is going to really give you even more to add to your socials, which is cool. And the other thing I really like about this kind of super visual magic is the more visual it is, the less we have to support it with our words. So this is the kind of magic that really, in many ways, will sell itself to people. People will get it. People will be impressed. All right. Having said all that, we're going to dive right in. I got a bunch of things I want to share with you, including Triple X. Triple X, been doing it for almost a year now. In different versions of it. I'm going to teach you all the versions on Zoom. Been doing so well. It's also a great live show. So Triple X, going to get into Eye Opener, bringing I've been doing that forever. Bullseye, really strong, really impossible. I think personally, it doesn't sound very humble, but I think it's one of the strongest traveling hole tricks I've ever created or that I've ever even come across. All right, signed card, free selection, souvenir at the end. No fudgo moves. You don't have to ring in magnets or steal cable from some crazy alien ship nearby. It's all very practical stuff. Magnetic, super organic, open sesame, hole in one, and one of one. I've been doing one of one forever. So this is stuff I've been doing a long time. Really excited to share with you guys. Let's jump in right now and let's get into Triple X. Boom. Do you know the difference between magic and hypnosis? I love starting tricks or basing tricks around provocative questions. Questions are a bridge between me and the audience. And if I can ask a question that immediately pulls them in, and I really like that. Now, if I ask a question that's irrelevant, like, do you know how many countries there are in the world? Fine. That could get you into a mentalism trick, whatever. But if I ask something that immediately is about what I'm doing here, do you know the difference between hypnosis and magic or magic hypnosis? Boom, I pull people in. And that's the core idea behind the presentation to Triple X. Now, I'm going to teach you two different versions really here right now of Triple X. I'm going to teach you the version I always use most of the time for lay people, all right? It's commercial, it's direct, it's impossible. Then I'm going to teach you the version I performed a zillion times for magicians, both live lectures and Zoom, and fried everybody. And I don't say that like, hey, that's a super, aren't I amazing? But just, it's a different audience, right? Magicians are a different audience than lay people. So I'm going to teach both versions to you now. Now, the idea here is this. You've got a double back card, okay? And you've got a big black X. Now, I want you to notice right now the version, I'm going to show you how you can, how this works also with non-bicycle brand cards. But this is a double back card, okay? Big black X on it. You could be doing a version I'm going to show you that involves taking just two cards. If you didn't have a double backer, taking two playing cards and gluing them together, okay? With some glue stick or something or double-sided tape. Though glue stick, I've used double-sided tape. And I find that glue stick is even, it lies even flatter than a little piece of tape between the cards, okay? So you could use this, but we're assuming you're using a special printed double-sided card, okay? That starts on top of the deck, like this. Now, do you know the difference between hypnosis and magic? I'm going to show you that right now. We're going to get to that. But first, what I want to do is this. I'm going to spread out the cards, okay? You can see they're all different. And you spread them all out. And you say, I want you to name any 3 cards. And what's cool about this is they can name any 3 cards. So you spread through, and let's say they name the 8 of clubs. That goes down the table. They name the 2 of diamonds. That goes down the table. And they name the 10 of diamonds. That goes down the table, okay? Now, I say to people, you might have noticed I didn't show you the backs of the cards when I started this. I couldn't have shown you the backs because I did something very unusual to the backs of 3 cards with a marker. Now, isn't it interesting that you name these 3 cards, and I, in fact, did something with a black magic marker on the backs of just 3 cards in the pack. Now, I wonder, because what I did is I took the marker and I made a big black X on the back of 3 cards. Then, of course, you come over here and you show that on the back of the 10 of diamonds is a black X. Then you show on the back of the 2 of diamonds is another black X. And finally, on the 8 of clubs is a 3rd black X. Boom. Now, when I was first developing this trick, I realized at this point that people might be thinking, well, maybe some of the other cards in the deck have a black X on them as well. I mean, it's possible, right? And I show them very fairly, and I deal through one by one, and they can see that absolutely none of the cards have a black X on them. And that's when I bring it back to the line about, I say, now I asked you earlier, what's the difference between magic and hypnosis? And you might think this is a magic trick. But actually, this has been an example of hypnosis the entire time. Because none of the cards had black X's on them at any point. Let me drop that down. So the structure on this is the down and dirty version of triple X, okay? This is the version I've done a million times. It works so well for me. Such a simple handling. Now let me look into the handling here, and then we're going to get into the more advanced color change handling, okay? Now, notice that you end with only one gimmick in the entire pack, right? Just this, okay? You could palm it out. You could start to put the cards away in your pocket and leave this behind, or, and this is something I've done a million times, it works so well, is when I go through the cards, and if I don't deal them down onto the table, but just sort of spread them and show all the backs, it leaves the gimmick right on top at the very end. They turn over these 3, the trick is done, and if I want to then say, you know, okay, we did something with these 3 cards, I'm going to do something, let's do something else with just the rest of the deck now. Now the deck's clean, because all I did was from these 3 cards is I grabbed the gimmick off the top, right? Lifted everything up and went to my pocket for that. It's okay. Notice, too, I could have started the whole thing by taking the jokers out, right? Jokers out here, jokers there. Do the whole trick, and at the end of the trick, when we turned over all 3 cards, whatever, I could take all 3 cards, put them back in the clean deck, right? Then pick up the jokers and say, we won't need these, get rid of these, having stolen the gimmick again. The deck is examinable, the deck is clean. So remember, that's the way you can clean this up. Now, let me drop in and break this down for you, triple X right now. So this starts on top. Now, this is a great opening trick because when you say, look, I'm going to start by showing, let's do something really, what's the difference between hypnosis and magic, right? We're going to find that out in just a second. But I want to show you the faces. They are all different, okay? But I can't show you the backs. I can't show you the backs of the cards just yet because I did something with this marker on the backs of the cards. We'll get back to that in a second. Excuse the pun about getting back, and you put that aside, okay? So already you're creating wonderful intrigue. He's being honest. He's not going to show, what did he do with the backs? What did he do with the backs of the cards? Really pulls people in. Now, when I say name any 3 cards, they really can name any 3 cards they want, right? They can name them. They can literally, if you got a full deck here, you can 4 of clubs, 3 of spades, 7 of diamonds. You can go through and take them out. The only challenge, of course, is if somebody names a card right beside the gimmick, right? So in that case, you wouldn't spread all the way down. What I typically would do is I go very slowly, name one you see, fine. Name one you see, fine. And if you get all the way down near the bottom, then you say to somebody, well, maybe I should go to somebody else. Make a joke of it, right? Or if they've named 3 cards, say you're going to do this over Zoom. Name a card, name a card, name a card. So fair, right? You'll go through, you take that out, and if you're going through and you realize it's right near the end, you lift up like this and remove that one, okay? So Either any 3 cards they name, you can get them down on the table. You just have to make sure you do it in a way, like this last card, for example. You would go up here, and then you have to come down in time to make sure they can't see the lack of a black X there. But that hardly ever happens. It's super rare. So what have we done? Any 3 cards they touch or name are down. Okay, you've already said I can't show you the back sheet here. And then now you'll say, well, you know, okay, isn't that interesting? Because you know what I did? I took a marker, and this is why I couldn't show you the back, and I put a big black X, and I really like to bring it to life for people. Big black X on the back of only 3 cards. As soon as you say that, let that sit. Boom. It's like, wait a second. Wait a second. If they only have. Now, this is a psychological red herring, because what I'm doing, of course, is I've said 3, and now I'm going to show the black X's. I'm deliberately making them think that maybe there are more X's. That'll be another climax in the trick. And then we go back to this. It's got a real beautiful theatrical build, lots of surprises. You're pulling them through the experience, right, with your words and sort of the way it plays out. Now, there's lots of different ways to do this. I'm going to do 3 double lifts. Now, the easiest way to do this, if you don't want to do double lift after double lift after double lift, is to push off that top card. Get a little break underneath it, right? Now, watch. I've performed this, and never once has anybody commented it flies every time. But I'm going to do something a little unnatural. Rather than turning over the cards and showing them one by one, I'm going to first slide the 2 onto the pack, okay? Do a double lift, which I had my break. And as I turn this over, I'm keeping the break with the flesh of my thumb. What that means is I can turn it over, turn it back over, keeping the break with the flesh of my thumb, right? Then pushing this off. My break's there. It means that every time I don't have to get another break. It's just the same break. I'm holding it with the flesh of the thumb. 1, 2, and 3. All 3 one by one being turned over, rather than having to get ready, get ready, get ready. Now, I'm comfortable doing 3 double lifts in a row, doing the pushing off and getting the get ready every time. But this is just one way to make it super simple. So what have you done? You've done something. Now notice, if it suits your style better, at this point, before you even turn them over, say I put 3 black X's. I performed it like this for people, where I spread through and I say, I wonder if maybe one of them, maybe 2. Imagine if you got all 3. And now I show there's no black X's. And I make a joke of it. I go, ta-da, thank you, amazing, huh? And as if that's enough proof. But of course, it's not enough proof. People want to see, and I say, well, I did get that one right for sure, because I know some of you may not believe me, and I got this one right as well. Boom, like this, and then finally this down here. Okay, so you can do it that way as well. But the core of this trick, amazingly, is that any 3 cards they name, again, great for Zoom, any 3 cards they name are the only 3 cards in the pack with a black X on the back. Okay? And like I said, if you want. So that's an amazing trick. But then, to be able to snap your fingers and without going to your pockets or anything, make these 3 X's vanish off the cards. So on Zoom, this is a beautiful reaction, works really well. Live, you ask the people to turn over the cards. All the focus is there. They assume it's some sort of heat-sensitive card where the X's come and go. It's a total brain buster, okay? So that's the down and dirty, super simple version of Triple X. But I was performing it years ago, and it occurred to me, wait a second. The backs of most of these cards aren't even shown till the end, which means I could be using a blue deck and have on top of all the magic that's already happened, okay, the combination of mentalism and magic, I could even have another climax. Okay, so let's look at that now. This is great for magicians. It just works so well in so many ways. Okay, so the setup is here. For this, you're going to need the gimmick. You got the gimmick, okay? Then 2 cards that match the bicycle brand. So even if the brand you typically use, even if it's not bicycle, let's say you want to go with a different brand, a blue back, different brand of cards, this will still work beautifully. All you need, okay? You can use 2. You can even just use 1. I'll show you the 1. Really simple, really clean. So let's get rid of all the red cards. They are gone, my friends, okay? Let's grab a blue deck of cards. Boom. Now, if you want to be really precise, you could get rid of the 2 of clubs in here as well, okay? It's not a big deal, but here's the setup. The setup looks much the same. Got the X, got the red. Now, the way I do this, I've done it for magicians and I've done it in some of my Zoom shows and things, is I'll do a deck switch, okay? And that works really well, where what you have is you've got the blue deck, you've got the indifferent red card on top, then the gimmick X side down on top, okay? And this is just out of camera, all right, with my marker, just off to the side. And here's what you can do. You can start by saying, hypnosis, magic, what do you think? And you say, the reason I ask is because I actually did something to the backs of these cards. It's really strange. Now, I'm not pushing them through so they can see a lack of X, okay? I'm just sort of spreading them enough so they can see they all look legit at a glance. I want them to see a lot of red, but not necessarily enough of the cards so they can see that there are no X's. So it's a balance, okay? Like this. So you spread through like that. You show it. Say, I did something. You've asked a question. Say, in a second, we're going to try something. I'm going to show you the difference. But I want you to know I did something very weird with this deck of cards. And in fact, I used, and as you say, you go here. It's important the audience knows you're about to go into your case or into your pockets or whatever, off camera to grab something, okay? And so when I go off camera, I grab the marker in my right hand, okay? And just leave the other deck aside, grab this deck and come back in. I say, I used this marker and I actually did something on the backs of the cards. Well, I'll tell you about that in a second. And this goes down. So you've done a deck switch. You've been able to show the backs of the red, okay? Now this isn't required, but it's just that next level, okay? Just that next level of magic. Now the hand is the exact same, okay? I go through the name any three cards. These are in fact the blue back card. They have no idea. They go down, right? Then I'm turning the deck over here like this, and now I admit that what I did was I actually drew 3 black X's on the backs of the cards, okay? And then I'm going to come over here, and of course, because I've got the gimmick there and another red one here, all I have to do now is the exact same handling. We're going to slide this up. Boom! There's X number 1. Down, I can do my, I'm going to bring this back up here. I can either use getting the break every time, or like I said, keep the break, slide this on like this, and boom. They've seen all 3 X's on the backs of the cards. You are so far ahead. They think it's a red deck. They think you've got 3 red, but these are all blue, so's the whole deck. You're so far ahead. I love how turning this over time and again, and the fact that they could have named any 3 cards, named any 3, touched any 3, and they all have red backs with X's, really sells the idea again on an unconscious level that all the cards are red. However, this is where you ask this question. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, maybe there are more red back cards in the pack, right? More red back cards in the back with black X's. And I always say not just there are more cards with X's, but more red back cards in the X's. Now, I'm going to come over here, having done all 3. Having said that, my thumb comes over, I get a break under the top 2 cards. Okay? And as I say to them, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, maybe there are more cards in the deck, more red back cards. I do the only move required to clean up, and that is a double undercut, where I've cut the 2 red cards to the bottom of the deck. Let me show you that again. So you get a break above, below the top 2 cards. There's your thumb, double undercut. I'm going to cut half the deck on top and then the other half on top. But I'm going to do it while bringing the, I don't want them to see that blue back, right? So I do it, I tilt the cards here, do a cut, finish the cut here like this, and it sets me up perfectly. I've just said, I know what you're thinking, that maybe there are other red back cards with black X's. And I say, well, actually, and then I spring the cards. You can snap your fingers. You can just riffle the edges of the cards. I like to spring. I say, actually, and I spread them out. I say, there are no other, all the other cards are blue, or actually, there are not even any other red cards, and show this. Now, you can do a table spread. If you're working in a place and you get a chance to do a table spread, you can do that too. You just have to make sure that at the very bottom, you don't spread to the very, very bottom of the last 2 cards, or they'll see red, right? So, you've done your double undercut, you do this, boom, like this, all the other blue. And people are astounded. That's, what a great color changing effect that is. I say, but that's not the crazy part. This is the crazy part. Because you might have thought that's an amazing trick, but this whole thing's been hypnosis. There have been no red cards the entire time. Snap your fingers. So many times I have people go, no. No, because they now get ahead of you, which is great. Usually in a performance, you don't want them to get ahead. But here, they turn over all 3. Everybody freaks out. Everything's blue. And to clean up again, like I suggested before, now what you can do is turn the deck over, get a break while everyone's, even as they're turning those over, you can turn this deck face up. They turn over, tons of misdirection to get a break under the top two face-up cards, your gimmick and the other red card, right? They turn over these, boom, like this. You can gather these three up here like this, take these three, put them in your pocket, and go on to your card trick, right? Because all I've done, of course, you can go into another card trick, is like I taught in the first part of this, is I stole these off the bottom this way, right? I come over here, lift them up. Or you can do the Joker idea again, I told you before, we're a couple of Jokers here. So no palming. You don't have to palm, and you can immediately hand out all the cards. I mean, these three are in your pocket. Or if the Jokers, then you can even include the three selections. Either way, two handlings, one down and dirty, perfect for any time, anywhere kind of performance. Then the deck switch version with the blue cards was so powerful. Works really, really well. You can combine the two too. I mean, notice that you could have it just set up rather than showing those red back cards off the top. Okay, and rather than showing that and doing a switch, you could start just like this, right? With your gimmick, with your red one card on top like this, right? You could mix these cards up. You could do a bit of the what's called a Hindu shuffle, where you pull them off the top, and as you pull them off, then you're tapping as if you're squaring these cards. Tap, tap, and squaring them up. Tapping, just keep it. And this does a great job of flashing the red back card many times, right? Now notice, for you then say that there are three cards in the pack with X's, it's not like it'd be one thing to say, spread all these really fully and show nothing but red. But since you're just casually going through here like this, you get the best of both worlds, where you get to show lots of red backs, okay? But not so many that for you then to say there are three cards with X's, for them to think, why didn't we see them when he was casually going through? So you get the best of both worlds here, double undercut that packet to the top, and you're right where you want to be. They think it's a red deck, okay? You've got your setup here. You can do the whole effect from there, this hypnosis or magic, and boom, just an insane ending. So that is Triple X. I took some old ideas and some new ideas in this presentation and really came up with, I think, psychologically, a great handling and presentation. I hope you like it. It's so simple, but as I always say with this kind of thing, it is very simple, so please practice it, rehearse it. I hate the idea of you doing it for people, and the first or second time you do it, there's some screw up, and then all of a sudden you've got that emotional association with such a simple, powerful trick, okay? Whether you do it live or online, you're going to love Triple X. I'm sure you've heard of sketch artists. You've probably also heard of psychics. But how about a psychic sketch artist? Huh? Right here, right now. Watch. I'm going to go through the cards. Say stop whatever you want. Stop. Stop me at a card, in this case, the 6 of diamonds. Take the cap off the marker and put your initial on the face of the 6 of diamonds. Great, thank you. Now, I want you to make your mind a blank for a second, and then I want you to think of someone's face. The face of a famous movie star, anyone. Okay? You can change your mind, go back and forth. She's going to think of one, anyone. There are probably hundreds of popular, top-of-mind ones. Free choice, go back and forth. You thinking of one? Okay. On the back of your card, I'm going to draw a little sketch here. I'm going to draw a sketch of the face of the one movie card in the entire world, or movie star that she's thinking of. Here we go. Okay. 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 For the first time, name the star out loud. Name it out loud. Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt. Clearly, his little nose, his funny little mouth, that's Brad. You can see it's Brad Pitt asleep. If I want to wake him up, I just have to snap my fingers. And look, just like that, Brad Pitt just woke up. And remember, her initial is on the face of the card. And with a drawing of Brad Pitt, of course, it makes for an absolutely perfect souvenir to give out. They can examine it, take it home. You're going to need an X-Acto knife. If you're a younger person, please be careful with these. You can get these at hardware stores. But again, if you're pretty young, I don't know, if you're 12, 13, 14, maybe you should get some parental supervision. Okay, you don't want these, the thing about these is they cut deep, right? They're pretty sharp. You're going to need a Sharpie marker or marker, ballpoint pen, and a couple of cards. What I've done is I've drawn a couple of little, let's call them eye outlines. I think you can see them there. It's important that you draw them about this size. The shape doesn't matter, but that size is kind of important. And I want you to see, too, that I've drawn them not quite dead middle. If you imagine the center spoke of that tire, the center, if you imagine that dead center, you'll see the eyes are a little above it. Okay, they're just a little above the center line there. They're a little above it. All right. Now, having drawn a couple of small eyes, so that's step one. Step two is get another playing card. Going to lay this card on top of the other. So the one with the small eye holes. Going to rest it right on top of this other one. Then with a ballpoint pen, I'm going to trace inside here like this. I'm going to be making what we're going to call the template. And this template you're going to use again and again, and it's going to make your life very simple. So now basically I've just redrawn two eyes, okay? Got the exact same shape though of the ones I've cut out. Now I've got the exact same shape and size. Next I'm going to take a marker, and I'm going to draw. Let's see here, like this, like this, like that. That's going to be a little close here. What I've done is I've drawn two eye holes, two more eyes around them, deliberately a little bit bigger than the smaller drawn with pen line. Now I've drawn it with Sharpie. And I'm going to cut those out as well. What do I have? I have a large set of eye holes and a slightly smaller set. Okay? Now, this is going to be my template. This is going to be my template. Because now, if I take a card, let's say a spot card like the 5 of diamonds. Okay? If I take my 5 of diamonds and I lay my template on top of it with the larger eye holes, I can take a marker now. Okay? And if I use the template to trace, what that allows me to do is I'm going to be able to draw a set of eyes that, here we go. Yep. The set of eyes is slightly bigger. Okay, it's slightly bigger than the cutout, and that's really important for this principle to work. Here's my smaller eyes. This is a line drawing now with slightly bigger eyes. Okay, let's go back to our gimmick now. Here, this is going to be our gimmick, and I'm going to take the marker now and around the outside, and I don't want to do too many strokes. Why? By that I mean I want to do it in as smooth a line as I can, because when you're drawing during the performance, when you're apparently drawing these eye holes on, you don't want a whole lot of jagged lines is what you don't want. You don't want to end up with a really thick line around the eyes in the gimmick, and then when you hand them up the finished souvenir, it's a really thin line. So you want to keep this as thin as possible to begin with. All right, you're just about to finish your gimmick. You're going to do two last things. First, you're going to take the marker and using the side of the point, you're now going to darken in the inside, the edge. This is really the cut edge of your card. Finally, I'm going to draw a nose, something I know I can draw again and again, and a mouth, okay? And again, you don't want to be going over this too many times, and then there's my gimmick. When I go to a gig, I'll only do this 4, 5, 6 times maybe, you know? It's certainly a special thing. I don't do it every time I'm walking around every group. But because I have this larger template, I can lay this down on any card where you're going to have them sign. I can lay this down on a card, okay? And very quickly I can trace. I can trace, okay? Then I'm going to make a nose, my same nose sort of thing. I'm going to make my flat straight across mouth here, okay? And finally I'm going to do the eyeballs. Now when you're doing the eyeballs, you want them to be as big as possible. When I want to perform the effect, I get these two playing cards facing the same way, right? On the bottom of the pack. I am now good to go. I need a marker. Now, this uses that old premise, that presentational. It's something as old as the hills, and I love it. It always gets a great laugh, and it's certainly a lot older than I am, and that is you ask them to think of somebody, and then you show them the most basic drawing of a person possible, a face, a stick, person, whatever, and you go, there it is. There's your movie star. That's whoever. That's Angelina Jolie or some other movie star. There's your movie star, and you name the name. Always gets a nice, strong laugh. Okay, now with the two cards set up on the bottom of the deck, you're ready for a very simple handling. When I want to perform this, all I do is cut the pack, keep a pink break at the back with my thumb, Ask the spectator to call stop whenever they want. And of course, the key to this is to watch people's lips, right? It's an old school idea, is if you just watch their lips, people always move their lips just before they say stop. And the moment you start to see the lips move, you just drop all the cards from the break, right? You're here, dribbling the cards, as soon as they call stop, all the cards above the break fall into my hand. I just put my, my right thumb underneath the packet from the back and turn this over, forward, okay? So I'm here, and I'm going to turn it forward. 5 of diamonds, you stop me there. I'm going to turn this bottom half face up, assemble everything here. Spectator puts their initial on the card. I get a break under the top 2 cards now, and it's easy. I look them in the eyes, I say, think of a movie star, and while they're doing that, my hands come down, I just riffle up the back, I get a break on it, and I take those 2 cards, and I just slip them to the top of the deck, and I roll the whole thing over, and as I do, you don't want to show them this, so as I do, I sort of roll it and bring the back of the hand up like this. I'm like this. Now, you want the face to be upside down at this point. Now, you can either remember the position on the bottom and remember which way the deck's pointing, or don't sweat it. In live performance, half the time, it's not where I want to turn the cards around. It doesn't look like anything, right? I get the marker. I say concentrate on the star. You think of some of the movies he or she was in. Okay, you can change your mind. Now, the premise is extremely commercial. Everyone's interested in movie stars, A. B, the idea that you're going to do a sketch of a movie star. Well, that's kind of interesting. So they have the expectations around the sketch, and then you're going to sketch the one that they're thinking of. They're thinking of one in the whole world. You're going to sketch it. So a lot of expectations, a lot of premises coming together, really strong that way. And it builds a nice big balloon that'll be burst. Okay, nice big balloon of tension and expectation that'll be burst with the line. Okay, so and now their POV is this, but what I do is I come over and with my right thumb I just slide this down a little bit. Now you're starting to see the gimmick in action. Okay, and why it's so important. The one's a little bit bigger than the other, and then all that. So I slide that down, and you want to make sure that they don't see this corner. Okay. So I often will hike the deck up a little bit so that way when I slide down, if you keep the angle of the deck about like that, they're not going to see the bottom lip of that card anyway. Now it's fake drawing, right? Now I pretend to do a drawing. I say, so you're thinking of, usually the cap's already off because they put their name on it. I say, okay, go ahead, think of a star. They're thinking of a star. I do my drawing here, my fake drawing, a couple of gags, boom, 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 like this. And they go ahead, name it. And they say, let's say Brad Pitt. And I go, Brad Pitt, there it is, Brad Pitt. Big laugh. I show it around. Okay, and this is one of the things I love about this is this plays for a large group of people, not just for 2 or 3 or 4. I've done this at weddings, banquet halls where you got a table of, say, 8, 10, 12 people, right? Boom, like that, okay? There you go, Brad Pitt. There he is. Well, he's asleep, but you can see the nose, that mouth is totally Brad, da-da-da-da-da, okay? So you get certainly lots of room for fun there. Bring the hand down. Now, you're going to shake the hand forward. As you snap your fingers, say, I'll wake him up. And as you shake the hand forward, it falls forward. All I'm doing is loosening the grip with my fingers and the side of my thumb. I loosen my grip a little bit as I shake forward, and it falls forward. Now, a way to play this even further, okay, is if you're here like this, is to re-grip it up here. Pinky there, fingers there, thumb there. Now, this can play huge. Here and there. Let it fall down, okay? Once it falls down square like that, you come over like this, okay? And now, it's a matter of a double lift, okay? Try not to strike it too close to here because what you get is you'll get a telltale. Sometimes it'll open up a little bit around the eye, which is why I have the image down a little further so that when I come over here and do a strike, or you can do it at the back, of course. You can get it at the back with no problem. I come over here and do a strike, and I turn the whole thing over like that, showing the signature. And as I take it, the one card off, I wrist kill the pack so they don't see the face-up card or the gimmick there. You're like this. And like this, all focus is here. Deck goes into your pocket or into your case, whatever, and you could hand this out. One last idea is instead of making the gimmick out of an ordinary playing card, okay, you could make it out of a double backer, okay, a double back playing card. What's the advantage of using a double back card as your gimmick? Well, look, if you do your setup like before, right, we've got our gimmick and we've got our card with the drawing on it there like that, okay. We do the riff of force, they call stop. We do the turnover, they have them initial a card. Take the top 2 cards as one to the bottom, turn the whole thing over, right? And do our fake drawing. Now when we do our fake drawing, we turn around, we go, there it is, it's Brad Pitt, perfect, okay. Do our shake, eyes open now. When we do the double lift now, you can pull this back
Okay, you can pull this back, and there's immediately a back showing. So rather than having to be a little more careful with your lift-off and wrist kill, okay, which is perfectly fine still, it's perfectly fine. In this case, you can do your double turnover. You can slide back to show the initial, and a little bit more casually.
I've been working on this kind of plot and these themes for many, many years, and I just love the economy of this. Sign card, hole visually travels, free selection, 100% free selection, any card in the pack. They sign it, punch a hole in it, the hole visually jumps, hand the card out as a souvenir. Boom. Instantly reset to do it again and again and again. So, what's the gimmick? The gimmick is a double-backed card. You could take two cards, glue them together, but I think it probably makes worth the investment investing in a double-backed playing card. And what I've done is I've taken a standard hole punch. Where's my standard hole punch? Here they are. Sorry about that. My sex robot was doing weird things with the hole punch. Standard hole punch, and what you do is I've punched a hole, and I made sure, because you want to, so I slide this in, going as far as I can. That means that time and again I'll be in the exact same spot, and I punch the hole right out of the head of one of the angels, okay? I've punched a hole in one end of the card, and then what I've done is I've taken a Sharpie marker and I've drawn a circle. And notice I have a little bit of a 6 pattern, okay? A little bit of a 6 pattern. I've drawn a circle around on one side of the hole, and on the other side of the double back card, I draw a circle in the exact same spot, but on the other end. That is my gimmick. Punched and circle on one side, and circle on the other end of the other. Now this gimmick starts, typically what I'll do, it starts on the bottom of the pack. And so what I'll often do is do some card tricks, shuffle the pack, all good. And then I just have to either put the deck in my pocket on top of this gimmick, then take the deck out after I've done a mentalism trick or a coin trick and say, let me show you one last amazing thing. And I'm all set with the gimmick on the bottom. Or, of course, you can gamble or cop. You can palm this in. At some point, take the deck's been shuffled, take it back, and I'm going to kind of gamble or comp this into the bottom. Now, let me adjust the camera here so you can see the setup and the handling and how, at first, it may seem a bit complicated, but this flows so beautifully. It really does. So this is the gimmick, okay? Got it on the bottom of the pack. And what I typically do now is I double undercut the gimmick to the, there's a couple different ways you can do this, but I'm going to double undercut the gimmick to the top of the deck. So I get a break above the bottom card, and I cut the pack, and then as I cut the pack again, completing the cut, I lift the deck up a little bit so that nobody, because if I do this now, people will see, okay? But if I sort of do this here like this, nobody sees. I turn the deck fully over, spread them out, and say touch any card. So so now the gimmick is resting on the bottom of the deck, bottom of the face-up deck. I spread through the cards. They can touch any card, okay? I love this part. So they touch any card, any totally free card. Okay. And I take their card, I turn it over, say I'm going to try something here, and now on the back of the card, okay, on the back of the card, right where I want it to be, I'm going to draw one of my little, there and there like that, okay? I draw one of my little sixes there around one end of the card. I draw that, I show it to them, but I don't let them look at it too long, it's just sort of there, okay, like that. Then I take their card and I slip this here like this, okay, and I turn this over, just like that. So what I've done is I've now got their card face up on top of the gimmick, okay? And I asked them to sign their card, and they sign their name across the face of the card. Nice and dramatic and big. So far all I've done is spread out the pack, have them touch any card, and they sign their name on it. Very direct, but I've got myself set up where I want to be. Now, the only other thing I'd warn you about is you want to make sure that the gimmick end, okay, is at the right end. You want to make sure that it's, how am I trying to describe this to you here? Let's do it this way. Is you want to make sure that this end is at the same end as the punch hold end. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. Right? Now, so they've selected a card, I put it on top, they sign their name on it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over. And there's no surprise, they should see now, notice that they should see that this drawn hole, it makes sense that they see a 6 because they think that's the same one I've drawn. Actually, that's the same one I've drawn there, okay? But that's there. Now, so that's my setup. I lift the top 2 cards up on the back end, and I come over. Now, there's already a pre-punched hole there. It's my gimmick. So it's very easy for me to take this, okay, line this up with my pre-punched hole, like this, slide it on, and I punch a hole right through the hole that's already in the gimmick, okay? I'm going to punch a hole right through the hole that's already in the gimmick, there like that. Now, I'm going to take the gimmick up and necktie the deck, meaning I'm going to let it drop down. Notice the trick is already done. I already have now a hole punched through the circle on their signed card, even though they took any card. I'm going to drop this down here, take this between thumb and finger, lift it up like this, let that drop, and focus all attention now here. Now this is so pretty. I'm going to do it's a snap change, but because of the way it's set up, I'm going to make it. I'm going to say watch the hole and watch the circle. You're going to see the hole jump inside the circle, and all I'm doing is an end-for-end snap change. I wave a large action. Under the large action, I'm going to flick that down. So here, and you almost give it almost looks like you're going to, now you could do the reverse, of course. You could just turn it 180 and say, you're going to shake the hole down into there. You're going to see it happen. Shake, and they see the hole jump right down in there. It's a beautiful, the illusion is absolutely perfect. That hole now jumping down, all right? No other explanation. Now to finish, all I do is I take this. I've just done something absolutely impossible. And I kind of reverse that necktie. I lay it back down on top of the deck, okay? And I lean forward and say, feel that. Is that a real hole? It actually jumped. And now I just do a double lift, turning over, okay? Showing they can feel this too. A double lift. They can feel this here as well. If you want, you can slide this forward here like this and sort of cover that part. You don't want to flash that part, obviously. But you can cover the hole you can slide this forward, cover the hole. But I think it's enough to just lean forward. So basically what you've done is you said, it's just happened. You lay it down, say, feel that, right? That's a real hole, right? Do a double lift. Say, go ahead. It's really right through. It's hot from one end. Now, slide this back, take it off while this hand goes to your pocket with the deck. And now you can hand this out. As promised, the hole visually jumped from one end to the other, freely selected signed card. And yes, because it's here now on the bottom, if you wanted, if you had to, you're immediately set up to do this trick again and again and again. I take the back, someone calls stop, I riffle through the cards. It's a shuffle deck. They really can call stop whatever they want. Let's say 7 of clubs. And somebody writes their name, and their name is Sam. They write their name on the card. There's their autograph, the whole bit. Fine. Fair enough. And I say, look, let's try something here. And I take the card, I can put it in the middle of the deck if I want, leave it sticking out, or I can have them put their hand on it on the table, whatever I want. And I say, look, I'm going to do a drawing here, because I'm not just a magician, I can also draw stuff. And they see me draw something that some think looks maybe a little like a very sad magic wand, but it's actually a magnet. It's a magnet. And I say, look, I'm going to see if we can attract the ink, because the ink on the sign card, somewhere near the magnet card. I say, watch, here we go. Square it in there like that, okay? Make sure our magnet is good and dry. Let's see, look. Just a riffle. From the middle of the pack, I'm hoping to a position directly below the magnet card, second from the top. I'm hoping the one card is, in fact, and it is, it's the signed card. I say, look, we'll try it again. And I do very slowly. I openly take their sign card, slip it approximately in the middle of the deck, approximately. Snap my fingers, and again, the second, not the top card with the magnet, the second card from the top, I'm hoping, has attracted, there it is again, their sign card. I say, look, we'll try it one last time. Square this in. In fact, I can give this to them to hold on to. I can put it between my teeth. This, in goes the sign card. A riffle. Sign card is gone, and we finish by showing impossibly now the magnet card is actually the sign card. And the local villagers show up with torches ablazing. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, do I love this trick. Now you could do it with a signed card, okay? Or an unsigned card to work with both, okay? The unsigned version is a slightly different handling, because what I do with the unsigned version is I start by drawing a magnet on the top card of the deck. And it can be, okay, magnet drawn on the top card of the pack. And yes, this destroys a card every single time. It's true, but I think it's such a great souvenir. I mean, this is just such a sweet souvenir. So I've drawn a magnet on the top card. It can be any card, all right? And what I'll do is I'll get a break under the top 2 cards of the back with my thumb, and then I'll lift both cards and blow, as if the idea is ostensibly for me to dry this, but in fact it gives me a chance to flash the face, because it's a double card, right? Okay. So there, at this point, I'm hiding the 3 of clubs, and I get to blow on this, put this back down. Now I spread through the cards. They can touch any card in the deck. Totally fair choice. They touch one. I out-jog it. Now, one of the tricks on this channel, I've already explained this, but I want this to be autonomous. I'm going to show this card now, and I'm going to turn the hand over and apparently show it.
But what I'm going to use is a move by Frank Garcia called Topper. And what I do there is I'm actually going to, as I turn the hand over, I'm going to square this in, okay, and pull the top card off and show you that card. So even though it looks like I'm showing you the card from the middle of the deck for just a second, okay, it's actually the top card I just dragged out, all right? I show you that, I tap that back in. So they feel they've touched any card they want. It was the 3 of clubs, and they're convinced it's in the middle of the deck, okay? I say, I wonder if the magnet card will be able to attract it, okay? So I'm here, I take the magnet card off. I take the next card, and I sort of say, here, boom, it came. Let's see if directly below the magnet card is your card. And I take this, I'm going to use an old, what's called a Monty turnover, okay? Very easy. I hold them like this, and I flick the left edge with my thumb. Then as I turn over, I'm going to push this card over and pull that one back. The fingers curl in, the thumb pushes, and I reverse the positions. But what really sells this, what really makes this convincing, is the flick of the thumb. So if I say a wonderful second from the top, and I flick here like this, and then as I turn over the hand, I continue the flip, very briefly, it's a very convincing illusion, okay? I can say, I wonder if second from the top, oh, there it is. Was that the card you were thinking of? They say yes. And I turn it back over and I reverse the positions, okay? Then I take this off, take this, and I'm going to use, now you can right now get rid of this if you want, and rather than being 3 phases, have it down to 2. Or I can use Marlowe's move, which is I'm here, and again, I explained this on another trick, but I get a break under there, and then pop it up so it's on an angle with my fingers. Then I come over and apparently put it second from the top, but I actually push it against the back here to get one card to kind of pop forward a bit, okay? Then slip this second from the top and square the whole thing in. Really looks like it goes back in the middle somewhere, but where is it? Second from the top. So, I'm here, thumb this again, give it a magic moment. Let's see if again the magnet card has attracted your card to the top, I'm not sure. I come over second from the, and I do the exact same sequence with the flip and the show, and it flows really nicely. Then to finish, I put this in the middle. Leave it sticking out. I take the magnet card, let's put it a little higher up. I can put it under my hat, I can hold it between my teeth, I can have somebody hold it between their hands. Any of these things, okay? Square this sucker in. Have somebody hold on to it with their own hands. See if this will attract the card. Now, if you watch your wording and you handle it, no one will ever think this is going to become the magnet card. That doesn't make any sense. Or this is going to become the thought of card, okay? But then, of course, you go boom, and it's weird. It should be attracting it. There we go. Where I don't know where it is. Oh, wait a second. Now it's become the magnet card. Now, people, it's a powerful trick. But if you want to do the signed version, in that case, all I do is I go through the cards, someone calls stop, okay, cut the pack there, I do a double lift, okay, double lift, have them sign their name, okay, so they sign their name on the card, okay, we'll do like that. Now, it's much the same hand, except I turn it over, okay, and I can put this on the table or maybe even slip it into the deck. Now, the sign card's on top. So when I draw the magnet on the top card, I'm actually drawing the magnet on top of the signed card. I'm already so far ahead, okay? Boom. I should use a thicker marker for sure. Then I square, I say, let's see, and I can once again use this nice subtlety of lifting it up and blowing on it. It's nice that they're assuming that's the sign card there. This is actually the sign card, but I'm holding a double to conceal it. It's like doubly clever. I'm here, okay? Like this. Now I go into the handling as it is. I square that in. I can snap my fingers, do the double show here, showing there's the sign card second from the top, okay? I can do tilt again, apparently putting it in the middle of the deck if I want and have it happen twice, or put this one legitimately into the deck, right? Take this, see if I can make it come to the top. Just snap my fingers, take a look, is it on top? No, let me try again. Snap my fingers, is it on top? It's not, that's weird. Unless, of course, this is the sign card. Dun, 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 dun.
This is open sesame. You know, when I first created this trick, I had a much more complicated idea, and it was only through practice and figuring out that I realized that the way the trick was most credible, the way people bought into it and therefore were amazed and it was memorable, is to really simplify it. So I finally simplified it down to just the drawing of a door, because I went through a bunch of different iterations and more complicated versions. The problem, too, was to keep it practical. It has to be a drawing that I can do really easily and simply, and that's going to be a dupe for my setup and all that stuff during a live performance. So the door worked out. I also have to start, before I jump into this and show you this cool trick and the gimmick and things, is I need to thank my friend Mr. John Bing, a really creative guy. If you haven't heard of him, definitely, hopefully you'll find him online, B-Y-N-G Bing. And he's got great presentations and lovely handling points. And he came up with the notion, this line that, magic, you probably think of magic as a combination of smoke, mirrors, and trapdoors. This trick does not involve any of that. Well, maybe just the trapdoors. Or you say smoke, mirrors, or trapdoors. Well, this trick doesn't involve smoke or mirrors, but it does involve a trapdoor, okay? And ever since John suggested that presentation to me, I always go with that one, all right? I want to definitely acknowledge the man. Now, let's make this gimmick. This is not a hard gimmick to make, okay? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab any card in your pack, okay? Ideally a red back card. I think it shows the drawings better. And what's great about bicycle cards is if you draw a square right along the handlebars of the angel riding the bike, and you then go follow the pattern, this very edge of the inside line, and then across and up. Let me show you one unmarked here, okay? So this border here, the two verticals, and if you go along the handlebars for your horizontals, verticals and horizontals, you can make a perfect square every single time. So whatever pattern of card you use, you really need to be able to figure out, okay, what the square can be a bit bigger, the door, a bit smaller. It can be a bit wider, a bit thinner, okay? It doesn't have to be perfectly square. It can be rectangular. But find a pattern in the back design of whatever card you're using so you can draw an almost identical door every single time, okay? Having drawn a door, then you take a packing knife or X-Acto knife, and you're going to cut along 3 sides. Not this side, but cutting here, here, and here, okay? So I've cut along the 3 sides. Also, you want to take a marker, and you want to darken the edges, the 3 sides of the edges, okay? Just that'll make it means the black art principle will work even more perfectly on this, okay? Once I have this, then I get my double-faced card. Now, you could use 2 ordinary cards, 3 of spades, or the king really works very well, though, or a court card. You could get 2 jacks that are ordinary cards, glue them together back to back, instead of using a specially printed card. But then when you do your double lifts, it's going to be a bit thicker. So keep that in mind, okay? But it's nice to have a custom printed single card that's printed on both sides. So I'm going to put some glue along here, just the edges, on the face of the card. And the reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my card we just talked about making and cutting. And this is not complicated. I'm going to put some glue on the inside here, put these 2 together, and press. So you want the double-faced card glued permanently, okay, to this card. Now, when you do that, I have, because I'm a professional here, I have a made gimmick. So this is it. This is the gimmick. It is cut on 3 sides. Now, you're never going to want to open it so far that it makes a crease, okay? You do not want this creased here. You want the 3 sides. There we can see the king, the back of the king, really, it's a double-faced card. That's my gimmick. Okay, now, to start, I have my duplicate king on the bottom of the deck, okay? Then I have my gimmick card, king side up, on the bottom of the deck, and I'm ready to go. What's the performance? First, spread through the cards. They can take any card they want, which is really quite cool. They take any card they want, right? Next, I take the card. I can either have them sign it now or do my thing. So let's just say, for example, they sign their name. They use the marker. Boom, they like this, and maybe their name is Max. Boom, short for maximum. That's their name, any card in the pack, right? I then take it back from them, and I put it directly on top of my gimmick, like this, and I say I'm going to draw something. I don't know if you can recognize what it is. I'm here. Now I'm going to do my thing, right? I'm going to draw, and you don't have to rush here. Draw it along there. I'm drawing along the hand. Then down the sides like this. And if you get a little tiny, look at that, I got a tiny little thing there. No one cares. Okay, boom, like that. And you ask people, do you recognize what it is? They say it's square or this or that. And now you'd say the line about, well, this trick doesn't involve smoke or mirrors, but it does involve, and you do a little dot here, a trapdoor. There it is, like that. Okay, now, you've done that. So, You've got the sign card. You've got the gimmick card. You've got the duplicate card. You've got this here like this. Oh, and right now I want to mention something that I think will matter to some of you, but probably not to a lot of you. And I want to say right now, I performed this trick countless times, and I've never once been busted on this possible inconsistency. What I'm saying is this. I'm going to be doing a turnover move soon, okay? And right now, the little dot, the door handle, is on my left-hand side. And when I do this turnover, it's still on my left-hand side. However, I've been in lots of situations where I turn it over and I show they see the signature, they see the door handle on one side, show the signature, okay? Turn it back over, and the door handle is on the other side before I reveal the transformation. Nobody cares. Nobody's really noticing. There's a lot going on with you performing. So I wouldn't worry about that if I were you. However, if you do worry about it, and that's fine, if you are a bit of a perfectionist on this, which is fine, I think what matters is performing tricks that feel right for you. That's what matters, okay? Is you can use a pencil dot. And by that I mean, on my gimmick, okay, if I put a little pencil dot up in that corner there, boom, like this, okay? It means that whenever I look at the pencil dot, I know it's the same size as where the doorknob is. It's on the same side of the card as the pencil dot. So I'm always aware of exactly which side the door handle is. That way you can make sure everything's always oriented in such a way that it matches up. I've never thought twice about it, though. I'm just going to say that right now. Okay, now, so what's the finish here? What's the amazing visual moment and then the nice cleanup? We're here, okay? And in this case, we're right here, okay? And we'll orient, since I was talking about that. Let's just do that right now here. So I've got my signed card. I just finished drawing the thing here like this, okay? And a gag you can use, of course, is you can draw this square. I forget if I've mentioned this already. Draw this square, and they guess they don't know what it is, and say, well, actually, dot. Now you know it's a door, and they can see the door like this. You can ask them to rub it if they want. The ink's not coming off. Turn this over, rub it the ink. So this is it's got a permanent ink on both sides of the cards. They agree. And now you come over and you say, but one other detail I want you to see is, of course, is that the card, when I turn it over, it's resting right up on top of the king, right? The reason I'm drawing attention there is, watch, if I just turn the door handle like this, the door impossibly opens. And we can see a bit of the king below. You can actually see the king, okay? Now, a couple of details on this. If you don't draw attention to the king below, then I really don't think, I've had moments where I've forgotten, I open this up and people are like, I don't think it's clear what that is under there. Whereas if you draw attention to the fact that there's a king directly under the card, when they see the king and you draw attention here, and then you open that up like this, then it's very clear to them what's impossibly happened is the door is somehow opening, even though it's just a drawing. The other thing is, because you want them to be able to choose any card in the pack, and I think that's important, you don't want to have to force a duplicate. You don't want to lift this so high that they can see whatever indifferent card you made this gimmick with, whether it's a 5 of hearts, or in this case, I even forget what it was, but maybe it was a 4 because it's totally blank. So you want to open this. And certainly they can see very clearly. I mean, people on the left can see, people in front of you. Everybody can see the door is impossibly open. It's such a surreal, wonderful visual. You don't have to open it all the way, but you do have to be careful. You don't want people on the far left to see it, okay? So you're like this, boom. Okay, now the cleanup here. When you turn over this double, it's really a triple card, right? Because you made it's a triple. When you turned over the triple, my advice, so you don't have to do it again, is you turn over the triple, keep a bit of a break with the flesh of your thumb, okay? Even as you rub this and open the door, now they can see, impossibly, you've opened the door and they can see the king below. But if you keep the break, what that means is you now can just turn this over. There's the king where it's supposed to be. Turn this over, rub here. Say, if I just rub like this, though, I should be able to get the door. And I pull it just off a little bit, so they can still see the king, okay, everything. And they say, yeah, see, look, I've closed it now. And you hand it. I mean, that is such a great switch, right? Imperceptible. Because one moment you're turning it over and they're seeing the king, right? Then you turn everything over, and even as you turn over, they see the king. You're good. You're pressing here and you're pulling back a little bit like this, coming off like that. Let that register. It's right there the whole time. Talk about a consistent visual. Then hand that to them and book it like that. They can examine that. And amazingly, the door is closed and it's signed again. Just an awesome souvenir, okay? I think this is the kind of thing. I put together this project Indelible from some of my most performed tricks with markers. My hope was that I would grab the 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 that really worked for me over the years, and that 1 or 2 would jump right out to you as like, okay, that's the one I want to do. You'd have a favorite of the lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if for some of you, this is your favorite trick on the project. With hole-in-one, the idea is to bring an optical illusion to life. All right? Now, you and I, of course, are way too smart to be fooled by simple optical illusion. But I think the magic marker is so, frankly, not so smartsky that I bet the magic marker would be fooled by an optical illusion. That's the premise. That's the presentation. And again, I think it's so important to have, a trick's a great visual trick. It's all fun and good, but it's great to have some little line in there, okay? So whether you present this as proof that the marker's not very smart, or whether you just want to keep it in a certain way about bringing an optical illusion to life, okay? I think it's always important to have an inline. Now for this, you're going to be using 2 playing cards here, okay? Now, like all the gimmicks on this project, not hard to make. Both 4 of clubs, both ordinary cards, okay? First thing I did, I got an X-Acto knife, a razor blade, okay, X-Acto knife, you know what they are, a packing knife, and very carefully cut out a small hole. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly this size. It could be a bit bigger and bit smaller, but basically, I want it to be big enough that the marker can slip through, okay, and in this one I'm using, sometimes I use a jumbo Sharpie, but with this one, it's just an ordinary Sharpie marker, can slip through the hole, okay? Now, once I've done that, I do a couple of things. First, is I take the marker, and I do this a few times on this project, and I darken the edge. You'll find that by darkening the edge, it just makes it that much more convincing. Now, you perform this for people that are a few feet away. There's never going to see any. The optics are perfect. But if you're in a bar and people are really getting drunk and leaning in really close, you want it to look as good as possible. So a small hole there. Then, what you're going to do is you're going to take this and lay it, and I'm going to show you exactly this, but I did it by laying this on top of an identical 4, okay? Then getting a pencil and drawing the circle, the outline, tracing the size of the hole, okay, on the 4. Okay, now this is what this got me here. Then with the magic marker, I filled in the spot, all right? So what it is these are virtually identical size, but one is a cutout, and one is a spot, okay? You start with these 2 on the bottom of the pack. They're on the bottom of the deck. Here's the setup. They're both oriented, they're at the same end, okay? And they're on the bottom of the deck, and then there's the black marker. There, that's the spot, not the hole, of course, that's the spot. Now notice, like a lot of tricks on this project, and I'll mention this again, but if you want to get a couple of gimmicks, you can start with an ordinary pack of cards, okay? Shuffle, you've done a card trick or 2. And then if these 2 are lying in your case or in your pants pocket, okay? And you're not wearing super tight jeans or something, okay? You can go to your pocket to get the marker, and as you get the marker, these are in your pocket. You literally slip the deck behind these in your pocket, come out, and you're set up. Okay, so in that sense, it can be impromptu. You can go into it any point in your show. So you got the setup here. Now, I take the deck. I cut the pack, pinky break, and I say, just call stop whenever you want. They call stop, you cut the cards like this, and then I turn the cards up like this. Now, this is not a pick a card trick. So I'm not going to have them pick a card. And I don't say, we can do this with any card. I want to emphasize, though, that it's very casual. So I give the deck a false cut or 2, right? I could do a little bit of Hindu shuffle action, as long as I keep the bottom 2 cards, right? Cut the pack and say, let's try something here. Going to create an optical illusion. Let's say you're going to choose the victim, okay? Say stop whenever you want. Great, right there. Okay, we're going to use a 4 of clubs here, 4 of clubs. Now, so by saying choose the victim, I want the best of both worlds. I want them to feel like they chose the card we're using, but it's not a pick a card trick, right? So you want to get that vibe. And don't sweat after you've been handling the cards. If it's ideal if the spot is on the back end, so when you lower your hand and you cover it with your thumb, you can flash and everything looks great, okay? But if you have to do, once you're here, if you have to turn the deck around once, hopefully not twice, but if you have to turn the deck around once and say, fine, don't sweat it. It's not like they're thinking, I bet he's covering a pre-drawn black spot on there, okay? Too many magicians get worried about this kind of thing. So you're here. You've kind of forced the spot with a riffle force, and you casually show this here like this, and you say you're going to make an optical illusion, okay, like this, all round square, and then you're coming over here, and you're pretending. You can actually put a mark or two on if you want, or you can just pretend to draw the whole thing like this, okay? Blow on it like this, put that down there like this, turn this around, or leave it forward if you want, like this, like that, and now you can show it, okay? You can say, look, give that a rub there, and then give it a rub, okay? Not coming off, right? But it kind of looks like a hole, though. I mean, it almost looks like a perfect black little hole, but it's not coming off. And you're doing this rubbing here like this, and you've done the first part of the slide, right? Because I just switched the spot card for the hole card. And the way I did that, of course, is I used the Erdnase color change. And again, I used this a couple of times on this project. But I'm going to be pushing forward here. I just want to make sure every time you know what I'm doing here. I push forward, right? Then I've got this down here. I'm going to slide back and move this forward, right? And just do that. But I do it under cover of rubbing it, right? Like in this instance, I know you've already seen me do this in another trick on the project. But here they rub it, and I say, yeah, it's not coming off. And I've done this, and it's not coming. And I do the switch right in front of them, which is kind of nice, okay? Now, having done that, I do make sure at the end that I want the hole and the spot at the end towards me. And I say, let's see if, now this wouldn't fool you or I. And you can show it. No one's going to know you did the switch. This wouldn't fool you or I. We both know it's optical illusion. But maybe it would fool the marker. I mean, take a look at the marker. He's not that smart. Take his little hat off. You can see he doesn't even look that smart there. Some little bit of business. What it does is it gives me a little misdirection, not that you need much, to push off the top card and get a break under it. Almost like you're going to do a double lift, right? You can even come over here, so you get your break, and you go, well, let's see if it'll fool, okay? Now, they've seen plenty of this visual. You take this back, you push it right into the spot, okay? And now I'm going to just push the card slightly off while moving this forward, and they're going to see it melt right through. Now, a little pointer on this. You don't want this coming to the sun, because they might see the hole just for a beat there. Okay. You also don't want to hold it with the backs of the cards squarely to the audience. You also don't want to hold it just like this, because as you push across, they could see something there, obviously. So what I'm looking for is I want to do this and then tilt it about there as I push it off, and they can see it melt. So you don't want it this way or this way, somewhere in the middle. Your hands are in motion, but the illusion of the marker going right through the hole is lovely. I mean, look at that. Through. You can show this side if you want, okay, but I kind of think this is the mystery here. That's sort of the mystery there. Look how convincing that is. I mean, can you believe that he fell for it? Or you could talk about the card not being very smart. Can you believe he's so convinced it's actually going through? So this is, of course, tongue-in-cheek, because while you're making fun of the marker for believing in the reality, everybody goes, oh my God, it's actually happening to me too. I believe in the reality too, right? Then to finish, I'm going to come over here. As I pull this off here, I'm going to pull the marker. I want to make sure the hole's at the right way. This is here. As I pull this out, I just pull this with my thumb, pull the card sort of back on like that. We're right there like that. To finish, you've got two options. You could do double lift, right? You could come over here, turn over the two cards, say, boy, it's convincing. I mean, I think you'd agree, but there's no hole here and no hole here. Hand that out. And I just did a double lift, right? Turned it over. Or you could do a second deal, right? Having just pulled it out like this, you can then come over here, do a second deal like this, and then hand it out like that. Either way, such a pretty moment of magic and so organic. Because it'd be one thing to introduce a card that already had a hole drawn on it. That'd be okay. Okay, and then go into this. But the fact that you seemingly in front of them draw the circle, draw the spot, they feel... And then, of course, you will possibly push a marker through, pull it back out, and immediately everything can be examined. Just the kind of magic I love to do for people. This is definitely one of my favorite tricks on this project for a bunch of reasons. First, totally impromptu. You know, you got a shuffled deck of cards, maybe did a whole bunch of tricks and nothing you got to secretly add into the pack or anything like that. Shuffled deck. Second, they choose a card, 100% free choice. Third, it's got not one but two really surprising endings. I love a trick, of course, with a strong ending. But when jaws are already on the floor and then you cap it, okay? When you've got this kicker ending on top of that, ooh, the reactions you get on that, I love that. So there's a whole bunch of things I love about this. What's the basic idea? The basic idea is this. You say, hey, shuffle deck of cards, fine. Deck is shuffled. You have someone peek at a playing card. They peek at a card, okay? They're thinking of a playing card. You say, look, I'm going to do a little drawing. You're thinking of one of these cards in the pack. I know that. I'm going to do a drawing and try to predict which card you have in mind, okay? Shuffle deck. They peek at any card. You say, the card I'm going to use for I'm going to draw, you take out of your pocket a joker. Say, on the back of the joker, I'm going to draw a card, okay? And in fact, we're going to figure out exactly what card it is. I'm going to kind of ask you some questions. So they're thinking of a card, and you can ask them some silly questions. You can say, and try to narrow it down, was the card red or black? Was it a face card? Or what I typically do is I'm going to ask them some questions, see if we can narrow down the card. Are you a coffee or tea drinker? How long have you been married? And what's your middle name? How many consonants are in your middle name? So I ask them silly questions that clearly have nothing to do with the card they're thinking of. And that happens while I am drawing their card on the back of the joker. Okay, boom. Ask them some silly questions. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Get that upside down like this. Okay. So I say, I think I've narrowed it down to your card. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I've narrowed it down. And then I finally show them for the first time the card. Boom, 5 of diamonds, or I should say 2 of diamonds here. Oops, 2 of diamonds. And they say no. They say, you sure? It's not. They go no. And I say, well, what was your card that you were thinking of? And they say 5 of diamonds. And then they visibly, even though I just drew this, they visibly see the 2 change into the 5, which is crazy magical, okay? And I say, now I know what you're thinking, though. You're thinking, wow, you probably love that as a souvenir, right? I mean, you want that joker. Who wouldn't? With this magic, I'll even sign my name on it. Sometimes I take the card off, and I'll sign my name on the card, whatever, here like this. There you go. It's 1 of 1. There you go. Actually, what would be even more magical is if I could change the joker into your 5. So you get boom on boom with just a couple of simple slides. So you do want to be careful you don't say the name of their card out loud. I'm performing a trick while teaching it and all this stuff. Sometimes I blow it like I did there. But anyway, let me teach you this trick, okay? And again, this uses, of course, the beautiful Erdnase color change, which I love, and I'm going to show you another change with that as well. For this trick, you got your joker and some card written on the back like a 2 of diamonds. Now, it is a very good idea to remove the 2 of diamonds from your deck, because they could maybe peek that, and then you're not set up in the same way for the magic, right? Shuffle deck of cards. You say you're a sketch artist, you can use that angle again, whatever. And so you go through the cards. They stop at a card, like an 8 of hearts, okay, like this. And it looks so fair, but what I've done is I kept a little pinky break where they call stop, right? So you go through, they call stop, and I keep a little break there. And now I'm going to control the card to the bottom of the deck. There's a few ways you can do it. You can cull, which is what I did in the first performance, which is I spread out the cards until I get to the break, and my right fingers pull the card to the side and then push it underneath. Okay. In performance, it looks like this. Here, so you're thinking of one of these cards, and then as I spread, this is where my thumb is going to push down, not on the card, but the card above it. Going to anchor it in place. So that leaves me a chance to slide the card to the right, and then as I close, it goes to the bottom. Right? Another way to do it is the double undercut, where they call stop, like this. You just cut the card to the bottom of the deck like that, okay? Because what you did, they called stop. I kept the break with my pinky, took the break over with my thumb, and then cut this, and then cut that. Okay, that's another way to go. It's on the bottom. What matters is it's on the bottom of the deck, and that they feel that they could have said stop at any card. You say, I'm going to try to get a sense of the card you're thinking of. What I'm going to do is actually a drawing. I find the marker helps me get a sense of the card you're thinking of, okay? Now, you take the joker out of your pocket. Don't show the back. take the joker. You could though, right? I mean, of course, if you wanted to, you could do a double lift and all this stuff, but it's easy to say I'm going to do it on the back of the joker, which makes sense because people throw out the jokers, right? So you take this and you're going to put it down on top. You don't want them to see their cards on the bottom, but you want to make sure that you get to see their card, right? So I see 4 diamonds, fair enough, okay? I do a double lift, turning the 2 cards over. Then I grab both cards for just a second and I turn the deck over. It's a really economical, simple way to get to a position you want to be in, all right? Now, so joker is second from the top. Their selection is actually the top card right now, okay? Now I ask them some silly questions or some serious questions. Is it a low card or high card? Concentrate. I want you to see the card in your mind, okay? See the card. I want you to see the colors. And I know it's the 4 diamonds, right? So, while I'm talking to them, I draw approximately the same size card on the back, okay? Now it's a 4 and it's a diamond, okay? And it can be as messy or as, it depends on how much time you want to take in talking with them, okay? And boom, like this. Okay, so there, okay. Now, of course you just drew it on here, right? So to take it off and blow it makes a lot of sense. It's perfect. Now, you can do you can either get a break under the 2 cards, right? And then pull a card out from under the break, right out, like this, or second deal. I find second deal really flows. I'm here, I just drew it. I'm going to push off the top card just enough so I can get to the second card and pull the second card off. Very casual, got lots of action up here. You've asked them some silly questions. Take it off. Shake. And this immediately, not that they doubt it, but this sells the idea that you drew it on the back of the joker, right? Works in lots of ways. Here, second deal, like this, okay. I take it, I put it back up on top now, directly on top of theirs, like this, okay. And I still remember, I have yet to show second deal the whole width. I've yet to show the drawing. Put this here on top, and only now, the drama. Think of your card, announce it out loud. You can do it this way if you want. They go 4 diamonds, you go, you mean the 2 diamonds, right? 2 diamonds? No, they go, it's the 4 diamonds. Say you're sure. Okay. Now you're going to visibly change this. Here's the Erdnase color change. I'll explain it a few times on the video, but I'm going to come over, and I'm going to push this card slightly forward, okay, under my fingers. Then this part, the heel of my hand, right here on the palm, is going to push down there and just drag it back until you feel it click past. Then move forward, drop it off, and then this first finger is going to square everything up. It looks like it is a variety of small actions, but I think you'll agree in performance. I mean, look at that. I mean, I know every time, if you ever see my other videos, you go, Jay's going to go on and on about the Erdnase. I just love it so much. So the first finger needs to move out of the way as you push this to start, then pulling back. And here, if you add a circular action, right, it really adds a nice little bit of magic there like that. So what have you just done? They picked any card, you did a drawing, you got it wrong, and then when we wave your hand, you just drew that, but even though you just drew it, you changed it, okay? And they know markers and playing cards, okay? So it's so extraordinary with the ordinary, as I like to say. Now they think the trick is done. They go, oh, can't believe he got us again. He somehow changed the thing to the thing, okay? Then now what you can do is a double lift, okay? Or you could do either strike double or get ready double, but you're going to do a double lift off both cards off the edge and turn over, showing the joker now, right? You can do it a couple of times, saying, I bet you'd like this as a souvenir. You probably want me to autograph it. You can do that. Or you can, having done this a couple of times here, you can simply take it right off here like this and do the change now, okay? So magical. I love it. Now let me show you another change though. The autograph I think really works well. Autographing it after the change is a bit anticlimactic. I've done it where you kind of go boom, change, or change in their hand or whatever. Here, I just made something change. I bet you can too. Concentrate, or if you're at if there's a family party, have a couple of kids wave their hand and they change their card, okay? But signing it afterwards, I prefer to do it before. Like I said, I think there's more magic to having just had the 2, change into the 4, and possibly do your double lift here, okay, to show everything's very fair, boom. And then it seems like it's over, right? Take that off, then you sign your name on the back of the card, or the face of the card, whatever, and then as an afterthought, just as your hand is going to say, actually, wait a second, probably be even more impressive if it wasn't just the joker, but here, let's make it the 4. Boom. doing it as an afterthought. It looks really magical. There's this sense that he just felt like doing something and was able to make it happen. Now, the other change I wanted to share with you, though, is this is a cool change. If you've just, it's called the starfish change. And this is slightly different. You got to work on the structure a little bit differently, because what you're going to do is to show it now, rather than showing, boom, showing the 2 and that you got it wrong, okay, rather than doing that, what you're going to do instead is after the blowing, like this, you're going to say, go ahead, tell them what the card is. They say the card. You're going to do the starfish, which is really magical, great for stand-up. And so what I do is they go, it's the 4. I go, I think you mean the 2, right? They go, no, it's the 4. And you go, okay, well, luckily I can do magic. And I come over here, and I make it look like there's the 2, and just, it changes to the 4. So magical. And what I'm doing there, and this is a weird technique, is the very bottom of the hand now is going to catch the corner here. I'm gonna with my thumb push this slightly, catch the corner there, so that as I come down and show the card there, I'm actually bending the 4 away from the 2. Now, as I show you how to do this, I'm holding the bend too long, and the card, when it falls flush, is going to land sort of like that. Okay, and that's not what you want. Okay, you really want to land fully flat on it, which it will do as long as you don't bend the card for more than a beat. Okay, so it's here. This is in performance. This is how it looks. You're here, and then you get to go like that. Boom, so magical. Okay, so that's the starfish change. Lots of different color changes and things you can do with that, but it's really pretty. Whether you use the starfish change or the Erdnase change, there's just so much magic involved in this. Okay, there really is. So that's one of one. I've been doing it forever, and what's really cool about it, of course, at the end they get at the end you've done the change like this, okay, like that, and you've got the Joker with the 2 of diamonds still. So you can either put this in your pocket, do a coin trick or mentalism, holy moly, rope trick, whatever. Then if you want to do one more card trick, when you take this deck out of your pocket, you just reach in your pocket, thumb off the top card, leaving it in your pocket, and you come out and the deck's clean. You can go right into something else, all right? And you can use this, you make this once, and you can use it again and again and again. 1 of 1.